Tuesday Weld. Even her name sounded like something out of a movie: sharp, electric, unforgettable. To the world, she was the golden-haired ingenue of the late 1950s and 60s, the girl who could steal a scene with just a sly smile or a glance. But behind that angelic face was a life defined by survival, rebellion, and heartbreak. Her story began in 1943, in New York City, where she was born Susan Kerr Weld. But tragedy struck early. When she was just 4 years old, her father, a wealthy industrialist, died suddenly of a heart attack. His death left the family financially devastated. Her mother, desperate to support her 3 children, pushed little Susan into modeling. By the age of 9, she was appearing in magazines, earning money while her classmates played on schoolyards. Childhood innocence was a luxury she could not afford. By 12, Susan, now rebranded as Tuesday, a name chosen for its uniqueness, was supporting the entire family. She was a professional before she was even a teenager, carrying the weight of adult responsibility while still navigating adolescence. But the pressure was unbearable. She began drinking, experimenting with drugs, and slipping into dangerous relationships with older men. While most girls her age were learning algebra, Tuesday was already living like a Hollywood veteran, fast, reckless, and haunted. At just 13, she suffered a nervous breakdown. Her mother, rather than shielding her from the industry, pushed her harder. "You're the breadwinner," she told Tuesday. And so, the girl who once dreamed of being free became trapped in the machine of fame. Her big break came in 1956, when she appeared on television in The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Her mix of innocence and sensuality caught producers' attention, and soon she was cast in films. In 1959, she exploded onto the screen in Rally, Round the Flag, Boys. A role that transformed her into Hollywood's new it girl. But Tuesday hated the spotlight. She saw fame not as a dream but as a cage. While fans adored her, she often recoiled from attention, mocking the very industry that made her a star. She refused roles that could have made her one of the biggest names of her generation: Lolita, Bonnie and Clyde, even Rosemary's Baby. Why? Because she feared being consumed by fame the way others had been. "I didn't have to make those movies," she once said. "I lived them." And indeed, she did. By her late teens, Tuesday had become notorious for her scandalous love life. She dated older, powerful men: Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, Richard Beamer, and even married men rumored to be among her lovers. Hollywood whispered about her affairs, painting her as reckless, dangerous, even doomed. But what the gossip columns missed was the truth. Tuesday was a young woman searching for love, stability, and an identity in a world that only saw her as an object. In 1960, she starred opposite Elvis Presley in Wild in the Country. Their chemistry was undeniable, both on screen and off. But like many of her relationships, it was brief, intense, and ultimately destructive. Her talent, however, was undeniable. Tuesday's performances in The Cincinnati Kid and Pretty Poison in the late 1960s proved she was more than just a pretty face. Critics praised her raw, natural style, her ability to convey fragility and danger in the same breath. She even won a Golden Globe Award for Most Promising Newcomer. But while her star rose, her personal life unraveled. Tuesday married twice. First to screenwriter Claude Hars, with whom she had a daughter, and later to British actor Dudley Moore. Both marriages ended in divorce. The weight of her inner turmoil too heavy for love to fix. She struggled with depression, alcoholism, and the scars of her stolen childhood. Still, she fought to carve out her own path. In the 1970s and 80s, she chose roles that challenged her: gritty dramas, psychological thrillers, and independent films that allowed her to show her depth. In 1977, she earned an Academy Award nomination for Looking for Mr. Goodbar. It was a role that mirrored her own life in unsettling ways: a woman torn between desire, danger, and destruction. But the very intensity that made her brilliant on screen also made her volatile off it. She often walked away from projects, clashed with directors, and disappeared from Hollywood for long stretches. Some called her difficult. Others called her a genius. The truth was simpler: Tuesday Weld was never meant to play by Hollywood's rules. As the years passed, she became something of a mystery. She withdrew from the spotlight, living quietly, far from the chaos of her youth. Occasionally she appeared in films or television, but always on her terms. Always choosing obscurity over the suffocating weight of celebrity. Today, Tuesday Weld is remembered not just for her beauty, but for her defiance. She was the actress who turned down the biggest roles in Hollywood because she valued her freedom more than fame. The wild child who survived a stolen childhood, the temptations of stardom, and the demons that might have destroyed her. Her story is not one of tragedy but of survival. Against the odds, Tuesday Weld lived. She resisted being consumed by the very system that devoured so many of her peers. And though she may never have achieved the superstardom of Marilyn Monroe or Elizabeth Taylor, she earned something greater: the right to live life on her own terms. Tuesday once said, "I never wanted to be a big star. I just wanted to be me." And perhaps that is her greatest legacy, not the roles she turned down, nor the scandals that filled gossip columns, but the courage to reject a world that demanded her soul and to walk away with her spirit intact. Thanks for watching. If this story fascinated you and you'd like to uncover more untold tales of Hollywood's brightest stars, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more.